Hi, welcome to English Hamster. Are you learning English? Great. Here we learn through stories. They are simple and interesting. You can improve English while learning knowledge. Remember to subscribe, like and comment. Let's get started.
Recently, there was news about Greenland. President Donald Trump said maybe the United States should take over Greenland. He thought this big island in the cold north could help keep the U.S. safe from other countries. Many people around the world talked about this idea. But Greenland is not just a place in the news. It has a very, very long history. People have lived there for thousands of years. Let's learn about Greenland, its people, and why it is special. Greenland is the biggest island in the world. It is very far north, near the top of the world. It is very cold there. Most of Greenland is covered in ice. This ice is not like winter snow. It is a thick ice sheet that covers the land. The ice sheet is more than a mile thick in some places. This makes Greenland a very special place. Greenland is part of the Kingdom of Denmark. Denmark is a country in Europe, but Greenland is not like other parts of Denmark. It has its own government. This government makes many decisions for the people living in Greenland. For example, the Greenland government decides about schools, hospitals, and fishing rules. But Denmark still helps with big things like defense and talking to other countries. Even though it is a very hard place to live, people have called Greenland home for a very long time. The story of Greenland is a story of strong people. It is a story about living with ice and snow. It is a story about change. The first people to live in Greenland were the Inuit. They came to the island a very, very long time ago. Scientists think they came between 2500 BCE and 1000 BCE. BCE means a very long time before the year zero. They came from other parts of the Arctic, maybe walking over ice or using boats. The Inuit were experts at living in the cold. They did not have modern tools or warm houses. They used what they found in nature. They were skilled hunters and fishermen. A hunter is a person who finds and kills animals for food. A fisherman catches fish. They hunted animals like seals, walruses, and even big whales. These animals were very important. They gave the Inuit meat for food, fat for oil and heat, bones for tools, and skins for clothes and tents. The Inuit built smart homes for different seasons. In the long, dark winter, they often built houses from snow. These snow houses are called igloos. They cut blocks of hard snow and built a round house. The snow kept the cold wind out. The inside could be quite warm from body heat and a small oil lamp. In the summer, when the snow melted, they made houses from other materials. They used stones, wood from driftwood and sod. Sod is grass and the soil under it. These sod houses were good for warmer weather. The Inuit had a rich culture. Culture means their way of life, their art, their stories, and their traditions. They made everything they needed. They made strong tools from bone, stone, and ivory. They made warm, waterproof clothes from seal and caribou skin. They decorated their clothes with beautiful patterns. They also made art. They carved small figures from bone and wood. These figures were of animals and people. They made masks for special dances and to tell stories. Storytelling was very important. Elders told stories to children. These stories taught history, how to behave, and about the spirits of animals and nature. The Inuit knew the land very, very well. They understood the ice, the animals, and the seasons like no one else. They knew when the seals would come, where to find eggs, and how to predict the weather. This knowledge was not in books. Parents taught their children everything. A boy learned from his father how to hunt, build a kayak, and read the ice. A girl learned from her mother how to prepare skins, sew clothes, and cook. This knowledge helped them live in one of the coldest and most difficult places on Earth. Today, the Inuit culture is still alive and strong in Greenland. About 90% of the people living in Greenland are Inuit. Many people speak the Greenlandic language. Some people, especially in small villages, still hunt and fish in the traditional way. They use modern tools now, like rifles, snowmobiles, and motorboats, which makes the work easier. But the old ways and respect for nature are still very important to them. They teach their children the old stories and skills. About 1,000 years ago, a new group of people arrived in Greenland. They were Vikings. Vikings came from Scandinavia. They were famous explorers, farmers, traders, and sometimes warriors. One Viking named Eric the Red is very important to Greenland's story. Eric lived in Iceland. He had to leave Iceland because he was in a fight. He was banished, which means he was told to leave and not come back. He decided to sail west to find a new land. He found a big island with green areas along the coast. He explored the coast for 3 years. He decided to start a settlement there. Settlement means a small, new community. He called the island Greenland. The name means green land. Why did he call this icy place Greenland? Some people think he wanted the name to sound nice and attractive. He hoped the name would make other Vikings want to come there. And his plan worked. Other Vikings followed Eric. They built farms and small villages, mostly on the southwestern coast where it was a bit warmer. The Vikings were farmers, not hunters like the Inuit. They brought their way of life with them. They brought animals from Iceland: cows, sheep, goats, and pigs. They tried to grow food like barley, rye, and vegetables. They cut grass to make hay to feed their animals in winter. But life was very, very hard. The weather was colder than in Iceland. The growing season was very short. The winters were long, dark, and cold. Sometimes the animals did not have enough food. The Vikings built strong houses to survive. They used stones and turf. Turf is grass and the soil under it. They built thick walls that kept the cold out and the heat in. A typical house had one big room where the family lived, ate, and slept. They had a fire in the middle for cooking and heat. They also built churches because they were Christians. Trade was very important for the Vikings in Greenland. Trade means to exchange one thing for another thing. The Vikings did not have everything they needed. They needed iron for tools and weapons, wood for building, and other goods. So what did they have to trade? Greenland had special things that people in Europe wanted. The most important was walrus ivory. Walrus ivory is the long tooth of a walrus. In Europe, people used ivory to make beautiful art, jewelry, and religious objects. The Vikings also traded animal furs, wool cloth, and live polar bears. They traded with Norway, Iceland, and other parts of Europe. Ships would come to Greenland every year or two. In return, the Vikings got iron, timber, grains, and luxury items like wine and fine cloth. The Vikings and the Inuit met. Historians think they met sometimes. The two groups were very different. The Vikings lived as farmers in specific settlements. The Inuit lived as hunters and moved around more. They probably did not understand each other's way of life very well. But they likely learned a few things from each other. The Vikings might have learned from the Inuit how to hunt seals from kayaks. The Inuit might have learned about metal tools from the Vikings. There might have been some trading between them too. But after living in Greenland for about 500 years, the Viking settlements disappeared. By the year 1500, they were empty. Why did they disappear? No one knows for sure. It was probably a mix of many problems. 1. Climate change. The world's climate got a little cooler during this time. This made farming even harder in Greenland. The sea ice increased, making sailing and trade more difficult. 2. Trade problems. The important trade with Norway stopped being so profitable. Maybe people in Europe found other sources of ivory. 3. Isolation. They were cut off and alone. Without enough supplies from Europe, life became too hard. 4. Not adapting. Unlike the Inuit, the Vikings tried to keep their European farming way of life. They did not change and learn to live like the Inuit hunters. When farming failed, they had no other way to get enough food. The Vikings left, but they left signs of their life. Today, you can visit ruins of Viking farms and churches in Greenland. Archaeologists find artifacts. Artifacts are old objects like tools, coins, bones, and pieces of pottery. These ruins and artifacts tell us the story of the Vikings in Greenland. They brought new things to the island, like farming, iron, and Christianity. After the Vikings left, most of Europe forgot about Greenland for about 200 years. Then, in the 18th century, the country of Denmark remembered it. Denmark and Norway were united at that time. They said Greenland belonged to them. The Danish king sent a Norwegian missionary named Hans Egede to Greenland in 1721. A missionary is a person who teaches about their religion. Hans Egede wanted to find the old Vikings and teach them about Christianity. When he arrived, he found no Vikings, only the Inuit people. He decided to stay and teach the Inuit about Christianity. This was the beginning of Danish rule in Greenland. The Danish government saw Greenland as a place for trade and for spreading religion. They sent more settlers and traders. Settlers are people who go to live in a new place. They started small towns and trading posts along the coast. Christian missionaries like Hans Egede were very important. They built the first churches. They learned the Greenlandic language and wrote it down for the first time using the alphabet. They translated the Bible into Greenlandic. Over time, many Inuit people became Christians. The missionaries also did other good things. They started schools. They taught many Inuit people how to read and write in their own language. Later, they also taught them Danish. Life in Greenland began to change because of contact with Denmark. Danish traders set up shops called trading posts. The Inuit people came to trade. The Inuit traded things they got from hunting and fishing: seal skins, whale oil, fox furs, and fish. The Danes gave them useful goods in return: metal knives, pots, needles, cloth, coffee, tea, and guns. This trade was helpful for both sides. Slowly, Danish rules and laws came to Greenland. The island became an official part of the Danish kingdom. This meant people in Greenland had to follow Danish laws. The Danish government controlled most things. This changed some traditional Inuit ways. For example, Danish laws about hunting were different from Inuit customs. But the Inuit people were strong. They kept many of their important traditions. They still hunted and fished. They still made clothes from animal skins. They still spoke their language. The two cultures, Inuit and Danish, started to mix together in interesting ways. Schools became more common. Children learned reading, writing, math, and about Christianity. Life in the villages was a mix. People might live in a Danish-style house but eat traditional Inuit food like seal meat. They might go to a Christian church but also believe in some old Inuit spirits. The 1900s brought the biggest and fastest changes to Greenland. The modern world arrived. During World War II, Greenland became very important to the world. The war was in Europe and around the world. Greenland is in the North Atlantic Ocean, between America and Europe. This location was very strategic. Strategic means very important for planning and fighting a war. Germany, the enemy, wanted to control the Atlantic. The United States and its allies needed to stop them. Denmark was occupied by Germany. This meant Denmark could not help Greenland. So, Greenland asked the United States for help. The United States built military bases on the island. A military base is a place for soldiers, airplanes, and ships. They built big airports, harbors, and weather stations. These bases helped the Allies watch for German submarines and ships. They also helped airplanes fly from America to Europe. The American presence changed Greenland quickly. They built things Greenland never had before: proper airports, deep-water ports, hospitals, and better roads. They brought new machines, trucks, and radios. For the first time, many Greenlanders saw modern technology. Towns got generators for electricity. People listened to the radio. They saw airplanes. Life became easier in some ways. Sick people could go to better hospitals. Goods could arrive by plane or ship faster. The economy of Greenland also began to change. The economy is about jobs, money, and how people buy things. Many Greenlanders got jobs working for the Americans at the bases. They earned regular money, which was new for many. They learned new skills like building, mechanics, and office work. Fishing became a modern business. Before, people fished mostly for their own families. Now, they fished to sell to other countries. Big fishing boats were used. Fish factories were built to clean, freeze, and pack the fish. Fishing became the most important way for Greenland to make money. During this time, a new idea grew in the hearts of Greenlanders: the idea of ruling themselves. They saw how the modern world worked. They wanted more control over their own lives. They wanted to make more decisions about their local government, their schools, their hospitals, and their resources. They began to talk about self-government and independence from Denmark. After World War II, Greenland was still ruled by Denmark, but things were changing. Greenlanders wanted more say in their future. In 1953, Greenland's status changed. It was no longer called a colony. It became a normal part of the Kingdom of Denmark, like other Danish counties. This gave Greenlanders Danish citizenship. But the big change came in 1979. Denmark agreed to give Greenland home rule. This was a major step. Home rule meant that Greenlanders could control many local matters themselves. A new government was created in Greenland's capital, Nuuk. This new Greenlandic government could make decisions about important things like schools and education, what children learn and in which language, health care, building hospitals and clinics, culture, supporting the Greenlandic language, art, and traditions, local business and fishing, making rules for fishing, which is the main industry. However, Denmark still controlled the big things: foreign policy, talking to other countries and making international agreements, defense, the army and security. Denmark is responsible for protecting Greenland. The Supreme Court, the highest court in the land. Money, the currency used is the Danish krone. With home rule, Greenland created its own parliament. A parliament is a group of people who are elected to make laws. Greenland's parliament is called the Inatsisartut. The people of Greenland vote for members of this parliament every 4 years. The parliament then chooses a leader called the premier. The premier leads the government. Then, in 2009, Greenland took an even bigger step. After a vote by the people, a new agreement was made. Greenland gained self-government. Self-government gave Greenland even more power. The most important new power was control over its natural resources. Natural resources are valuable things from nature like minerals, gold, rubies, iron, zinc. Oil and gas, under the sea around Greenland. Water, pure water from melted ice. Now, if a company wants to mine for gold or drill for oil in Greenland, the Greenland government makes the rules and gets most of the money. This was very important for Greenland's dream of becoming economically independent. Greenland also got more control over the police, the courts, and some immigration rules. It became possible for Greenlandic to be the sole official language. But, and this is important, Greenland is still part of the Kingdom of Denmark. It is not a fully independent country like the USA or France. Denmark still gives Greenland a large amount of money every year to help pay for public services. Denmark also handles Greenland's defense and represents Greenland in many international meetings. So, Greenland's government is much more independent, but it still works closely with Denmark. Greenland also now speaks for itself in world forums about issues that matter to it, like climate change and Arctic cooperation. Greenland's economy is small and faces special challenges because of its remote location and climate. Fishing is the biggest and most important industry. An industry is a type of business. Over 90% of Greenland's exports are fish and fish products. The main fish is shrimp. They also catch halibut, cod, and crab. Many towns and villages depend completely on the fishing factory. If fishing is bad, the town suffers. Fishing provides jobs on boats, in factories, and in shipping. Mining is the other big hope for the economy. Greenland has many valuable minerals under its rocks and ice. People are looking for gold, rubies, uranium, and rare earth elements. There is also hope for oil and gas under the sea. But mining is very, very difficult in Greenland. 1. The climate. It is extremely cold. The work can only happen in the short summer. Building mines and roads is expensive and hard. 2. The environment. People worry that big mines will pollute the clean water and beautiful landscape. Many Greenlanders love their nature and are careful about this. 3. Distance. Getting machines to Greenland and shipping minerals out costs a lot of money. So far, only a few small mines are open. The government is trying to decide. Should they allow big mining to get rich or protect the environment? Tourism is growing fast. More and more people want to visit Greenland. They come to see icebergs and glaciers, huge pieces of ice in the sea and giant rivers of ice. The northern lights, beautiful green and red lights dancing in the winter sky. Unique wildlife, whales, seals, musk oxen, and polar bears. Inuit culture, to learn about a different way of life. Tourism creates jobs in hotels, restaurants, tour companies, and as guides. It helps small towns, but Greenland must be careful. Too many tourists can harm the fragile environment and disturb the quiet life of the villages. Climate change is the biggest challenge for Greenland's economy and way of life. The Earth is getting warmer because of pollution from cars, factories, and power plants. The Arctic is warming much faster than the rest of the world. In Greenland, the ice sheet is melting. It is melting faster every year. This causes big problems. Sea level rise. The melted ice flows into the ocean. This makes sea levels rise all over the world. This is dangerous for islands and coastal cities from New York to Shanghai. Changing landscape. In Greenland, the melting ice is uncovering new land. It is also making the weather more unstable. Hunting and fishing. For the Inuit hunters, climate change is a direct problem. The sea ice forms later and melts earlier. This ice is their highway for hunting seals and walruses. It is also a platform for them to rest. With less ice, hunting becomes more dangerous and difficult. Fish stocks are moving to colder water, so fishermen have to travel farther. So, while the melting ice might make it easier to mine minerals, it is making the traditional life much harder. Greenland's economy and culture are caught in the middle of this global problem. Today, about 56,000 people live in Greenland. It is the least densely populated country in the world. Most people live in small towns on the coast. There are no roads connecting the towns. People travel between them by boat, helicopter, or airplane. The capital city is Nuuk. It has about 18,000 people. It has universities, a museum, cafes, and modern buildings. But even in Nuuk, you are never far from nature. Language is a key part of identity. The official language is Greenlandic. It is an Inuit language related to languages spoken in Canada and Alaska. It is a very complex and beautiful language. Most people also speak Danish, which is taught in schools. Many young people also speak good English. Culture is a mix of old and new. On a Saturday night, a young person might text friends on a smartphone, then go home to eat dried seal meat with their family. Traditional activities like dog sledding and kayaking are now also popular sports and tourist attractions. Challenges for the future. 1. Social issues. Like many remote communities, Greenland has problems with alcoholism, suicide, and high costs of living. Fresh food is very expensive because it has to be shipped or flown in. 2. Education. Getting a good education is important for the future. Young people need skills for modern jobs in technology, science, and business. 3. Balancing old and new. How can Greenland be a modern society while keeping its unique Inuit culture and connection to nature strong? This is the central question for its future. Greenland's story is amazing. It is a story of incredible survival. For thousands of years, the Inuit people not only survived, but built a rich culture in one of Earth's toughest environments. They show us how to live in harmony with nature. Then came waves of change. Vikings with their farms, Danes with their trade and religion, Americans with their technology, and finally, Greenlanders themselves taking control of their destiny with home rule and self-government. Today, Greenland stands at a crossroads. It faces the global threat of climate change, which is changing its very land. It dreams of economic independence through its resources, but worries about the environmental cost. Its people are working to build a modern society that is truly Greenlandic, proud of its past, active in the present, and hopeful for the future. Greenland is no longer a forgotten island of ice. It is a living land with a strong voice, teaching the world about climate change, resilience, and the power of culture. Its journey continues on its own terms.
Hey, if you learned something new today, please give this video a like. Write your thoughts in the comments and subscribe to the channel. It only takes a second and it really helps to create more English videos for you. Thank you. See you next time. Bye.